welcome to Take30 with the data scientist. My name is Matthew Davis. I'm the data science manager at Ironside. Today, I'm here with you with Lucinda Lindy, who is a senior data scientist also at Ironside. And we're here to discuss solving business problems with natural language processing, which we're going to refer to in the future as NLP. Use cases and how to extract business insights from text, and then we'll have a brief question answer period. Okay, so kind of the first question here is, what is natural language processing and why should you care? Natural language processing is it's a subfield of artificial intelligence that automates understanding of human language by computers. Data sources for this could include product reviews, survey comments, scanned documents, social media posts. What's interesting about this is it's a very virtually untapped source of information about businesses. And the new tools that we've developed really allow you to kind of unlock some value in there. So applications range from document summarization to sentiment analysis to classification, language detection and translation, semantic search, and conversational AI. So there's a straightforward set of tools that really can treat free text, that's essentially typed by a human as essentially any other data source to mine for insights. And if your company's amassing a lot of this free text, much more so than humans can read, for example, if you're amassing social media posts by the thousands, NLP can provide tools to essentially automate the knowledge extraction from that. All right, some example use cases that can deliver some ROI. So, analyzing text data, it can deliver improvements in sales and profitability and efficiency. But what it uniquely can do is it can uncover the voice of the customers in the sense, you can ingest thousands of social media posts and look at, for example, side effects for a new drug that may show up there. You can capture sentiment from key opinion leaders about certain subjects. You can use customers' language when articulating, product benefits. You can understand how customers talk about your business and your competitors. And again, this is at very, very large scale beyond what just a single person could read through. So other things you can do, you can provide marketing and product intelligence. You can improve your customer experience through conversational NLP. You can analyze, impacts of events. There's lots and lots of options for that. You can understand root causes of positive or negative customer reviews about a product, which is what we're going to talk about quite a bit deeper in this Take30. And then you can prioritize product development options.
Thank you very much, Matthew, for laying out the big picture and how NLP can be useful. So in this use case, I'm going to talk about extracting the business insights from text, and specifically reviews, product reviews, Amazon reviews, and how you can use the information in those Amazon reviews to prioritize which product flaws to fix by applying natural language processes to those reviews. But first, let's take a step back and say, well, should we even care about the text in reviews? Well, McKinsey took a look at the at Amazon reviews from a major platform, and they looked at 70 different product categories across hundreds of thousands of SKUs in a 2-year period. What they found was that the revenue could be increased when you had average star rating starting from, say, 3.4 over here for the cat food. In this case, the rating was improved from 3.4 to 4.5, giving 170% sales lift. But that's different than the sales lift that was from car seats. So car seats already started out a lot higher at 4.4 compared to the 3.4 for the cat food. and food, and it was able to go up from 4.4 to 4.7, which is still a great rating. But there you got a 30% lift because there's really not that much more to get. In any case, you can look at these boxes down here at the bottom, and what they tell you are the amount of sales lift that you can get per 0.1 of star review increase. So this was a broad reaching study that looked across many different product categories, but you can see that there's a lift associated with each 0.1 of a star increase. Sorry, just a second here. Okay, but just as increasing your reviews average star rating has upside, having lower ratings has downside. In fact, can have very serious consequences. So there is a Qualtrics blog that cited many different studies across restaurants and other types of businesses to look at what happens to products or services that have a decrease in their average star rating. So I thought, I'm not going to go through all of these, but one I think is very interesting is one negative review can result in 22% fewer customers. 3 negative reviews can have a potential loss for 60% of customers. And we'll look at a negative review in a little while and just see how this happens. Also, for instance, at restaurants, half-star rating might mean that they're 19% less likely to have seats filled during peak times. So there can be really serious consequences to having a decrease in your star review or having a low star review to begin with. Okay, so let's suppose that you're the product manager for an electronic insect killer, and the VP says, hey, I read a couple of these reviews and there's a lot of good information in there. Can you read all the reviews and prioritize what we need to do here? So you have one option, which is you can have humans read their reviews. And if you're short on time, you make your best guess on the priorities, or you can conduct a detailed analysis if you got time and money and you develop your recommendations. But a better option and faster would be to apply natural language processing to these reviews. That will generate a prioritized list of problems to fix, and then you can mobilize the organization around fixing these most important problems. So let's go through that. Okay, let's first take a look at the ratings for this electronic bug killer. Not the reviews, just the ratings. They give you some limited amount of information. First of all, if you look at these, here's the 8,000 reviews. It shows you that when people are, strongly emotional, then they are more likely to write. So people who love the product, there are 5,000 reviews there. People who are unhappy with the product, almost 1,000. And then here in the middle, there are a lot fewer reviews because people are like, it was okay, it's pretty good. But I think another important thing to see here is that if you look at the positive reviews, which I'm going to define as 4- and 5-star reviews, this sum outnumbers the sum of the 1-, 2-, and 3-star reviews by a factor of 7 to 1. So that is an important ratio, which we'll look at a little bit later. So that's the information that you get from looking at the ratings. What information do you get from actually reading the reviews? Well, here is the text of one negative review, and it really does supply some rich information. First of all, 580 people found this review useful, this 2-star review. And I'm guessing that they found it useful because they decided not to buy this product. Specifically, this one is about the bulbs, right? So this is the summary of the review that somebody put up there. Every single one of the bulbs failed before the end of the season. So there's something implied there about it really should last 1 or 2 seasons. The money, they were expensive to replace the bulbs. This is 100% failure rate. They almost develop a cynical attitude about the company, like they're designing this so they can get all more money out of my bulbs, my buying more bulbs. And then the shipping costs and the return policies made people angry as well. So there's a lot of rich information here, but how do you scale getting that information from the text? One way is to apply natural language processing. Natural language processing is a specialized branch of AI, and it's got several steps to it. I'm just going to go through these quickly. First of all, you need to review and clean the text, removing stop words like the, of, or, from, etc., removing special characters, punctuation, etc. Then we pre-process the words and stemming them. Stemming is important because if you have a word like words like spend, spent, spending, spendable, it all goes under the root word of spend. So that's what this stemming does. Tokenization makes every word or group of words into one column in a matrix that gets fed into the machine learning. There's also n-grams. So you can look at individual words, but sometimes you get more context out of groups of 2, 3, and 4 words. And I'm going to show you how that works. So n-grams are produced by taking the first and second word as a unit, the second and third word, the third and fourth word, and onward. Those are 2 grams. 3 grams are captured by bought this week. Whoops, sorry, go back one. Bought this week, so it's the first, second, third word, second, third, fourth, etc. And in this process, we did 2, 3, and 4 grams. We did not do single words because that was we tried that, and that wasn't as informative as the 2, 3, and 4 words. So after you do the n-grams, then you can apply different natural language processes approaches. So we used traditional text mining, which is called TF-IDF. TF is the term frequency document, and that is the number of times the term appears divided by the total number of terms in the document, or document meaning all the reviews here in this case. And IDF is the inverse document frequency, which is a log base E of the total number of documents divided by the number of documents with that term in it. Okay, so then this pre-processed data of the text then gets fed into machine learning. And we used random forest and logistic regression to train the model to predict whether 0 or 1. So 1 is that this is a positive review. In other words, this review had a 4 or a 5 rank rating, or 0, which is that it's a negative review. It had 1, 2, 3, or star ratings. So that's called a classification problem. But the important thing wasn't about predicting the reviews. The important thing was about finding which of the terms were the most important in predicting the reviews. And that's where we get this list right here. So these are 26 of the n-grams or word groups that these are the top ones. So stopped working was an incredibly important term for deciding whether it was going to be a positive or negative review. If we look at the top 26 here, we can see that the bulb was mentioned 4 times in the top 26 out of the 24,500 word groups or n-grams that were fed into the machine learning process. So then if we look and we kind of look at where is bulb even mentioned, it's mentioned in 597 out of the 8,000 reviews, 319 times in positive reviews, and 278 times in negative reviews. This is important because this is almost a 1-to-1 ratio when the proportion of all positive reviews to all negative reviews is 7-to-1. So clearly, the bulb is causing a much higher proportion of negative reviews than you would expect in the reviews overall. So once you have this information, the bulb is the most important thing to fix in this product. You can then mobilize your business to fix the bulb problem. So you've got process engineering and manufacturing. You say, hey, can you guys source a higher quality bulb, please? Or ask manufacturing, like, we can't get a better bulb. We have to upgrade our QC processes to weed out bad bulbs at the beginning, at incoming, in process, and also before shipping final QC. Shipping, it may be that the shipping process or the packaging are responsible for the bulbs breaking. And by putting in better packaging or gentler shipping methods, then you can have fewer products arrive broken. Marketing and product management. Maybe customers have an unreasonable expectation of how long these bulbs should last. Maybe they think it should last, 3 seasons or 5 seasons. But by resetting product expectations, both in marketing and in product instructions, you can help solve that expectation actual reality disconnect. Also, just by reading through some of the bulb reviews, we saw that sometimes things were just being used incorrectly. So better, clearer instructions that people can read that are in a hurry would be a good thing to do. Product management or finance, review and or redesign return process to be fair, because that's to be both fair, but also not too lax, so you're not losing money. And then finally, finance to analyze the costs and the benefits of these product fixes mentioned above. So speaking of benefits, what might the benefits be if this electronic bug zapper got moved up from a 4.1 to a 4.4 rating? Well, the ratings improvements would be something like this if we use some of the assumptions from the McKinsey study, which studied hundreds of thousands of different SKUs. If we assume that the electronic bug killer starts with a revenue, let's call it $30 million in sales, and we know that the average star rating is 4.1, and from that study from McKinsey, we saw that 12% sales lift might be a reasonable expectation for this type of product for each 0.1 star increase. Then you would go from 30 million to almost 41 million if you moved your average star rating from 4.1 to 4.4, part of which may be accomplished by fixing the bulb problem, or maybe even all of it, given how angry people were about when it didn't work. So that's a 35% sales increase by just improving your average, by improving your ratings. If you were able to go from 4.1 to 4.6, that would result in an $18 million increase, or 60% increase over 30 million. And if you were able to be so stellar as to achieve a 4.8 rating, you would then almost double your sales. It'd be an 85% increase in sales by having a higher rating. So these are some of the benefits, and you can use that as an estimate, and then compare that to the costs of fixing the problem to see which things are worth it. So conclusions and recommendations. Basically, text about your products, your business, and your competitors is everywhere. In fact, 80% of all data in the world is unstructured data, which is typically very text heavy. So example, as Matthew was talking about for text data that you could use using NLP processes, is social media posts, reviews, articles, transcribed podcasts, etc. This data is in volumes that are just too much to read, let alone comprehend and distill into a business recommendations. How do you get value from this untapped source? Well, you can capture insights by leveraging natural language processing, as we saw in this particular use case. It's AI powered. It's not a simple text search. Like if you try doing this in Excel, you wouldn't be able to accomplish what this technique does. It uncovers the underlying patterns and relationships in your text data that you can then use to feed and to prioritize your business initiatives. So some business initiatives results that you can get by using NLP to informing your business decisions include improved sales, as we saw in this example, enhanced customer targeting. In fact, you can see how you might be able to do segmentation and positioning using this type of text. If you can figure out, if you can decide like, okay, these types of people who are using this bug zapper in Florida and other places that are in the South, we'll reach them by talking about these things. People in the North, they don't use it as much. Maybe there are other ways to position the product. Product improvements, as we saw, to use to help drive increased sales, and making R&D more productive. Sometimes people talk about what they wish they saw. So those are the main things that we wanted to get across here today. And I was just wondering if anybody has any questions at all.
questions, I did want to just mention we do have an Ascent AI offering that helps to get folks started and will enable you to see if there's a there for data science in just 2 to 3 weeks. So we'd love to talk to you more on that, and just give us a call at here-to-help@ironsidegroup.com. But the questions we had were really specific to the great use case you shared to us. What are some examples of other problems that they found in these reviews?
So in looking at this, in addition to the bulb, I mean, one of them was that screws were actually oftentimes missing in the product because some things had to be screwed together. Another one that they had was actually the electric cord was mentioned several times, in that it wasn't long enough to be able to get the bug zapper from where it needed to be to electric power. And then one more that we saw in that negative review was the return policy. That one came up quite a bit as well. And I think any manager could look at how do you look at this and decide which one of these problems are the most important ones to tackle.
Great. And can you comment a little bit about the data collection process? It seems like it must be very cumbersome.
Well, actually, if you're dealing with Amazon, for example, as a vendor, it ends up being pretty simple because they supply that data to you. So in this particular case, it was pretty straightforward. I think if you remember the negative review that we saw, there was a kind of a summary, that kind of like a title of the review, and then there was the body of the review. So in this case, all you needed to do was combine and concatenate the summary and the review information, and you process that all as one text for each review. And then you also need the ratings so that you can do the predictions, and that's all you need. So in this particular case, because you're connected to Amazon and you get this information anyway, and it can be downloaded in spreadsheets or whatever form that you want to have it downloaded. It's actually a relatively straightforward thing to do because the structure of the reviews, then you can apply natural language processing to that.
Thank you. That's great. Any closing comments, Matthew? Oh, wait, I do have another question that just came up. Could this technology be expanded to look at multiple products?
So it could be. I mean, in fact, this data here is from a publicly available data source, because I didn't want to use the confidential data of the customer that I was working with. But this customer actually did have families of products. So in fact, if there are a lot of parts that are common to different members of the family of a product, then you can do that. You can look at the a group of different related products. You can also compare how the different ratings and the sources of problems. It could be that something like the return policy is common across all of the products, or you can use it on individual products and find out what's making those, or families of products. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think it was great. Thank you. And I think we're done for the day. Matthew, want to make a closing comment, and then thanks.
Sure. Yeah, I just wanted to thank everybody for attending this Take 30. And I'll just leave you with one anecdotal natural language processing story, which is, we processed in a prior career, I processed comments for health clinics, and all the ratings in the world didn't reveal the fact that they needed to expand their parking lots. And we found that in natural language processing. So, a lot of times the why is not answered by just the star ratings alone. And that really can be insightful. So thanks again.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.